everybody, and welcome to another episode of RevOps Demos That Don't Suck, hosted by me, Matt Baum, CEO and co-founder of RevOps Co-op. RevOps Co-op is a global community of folks who are passionate about revenue operations. And today I'm here with Alison Groves, who is a senior trial specialist at Help Scout. And for those of you who do not know what Help Scout is or what Help Scout does, they are essentially a platform that helps growing businesses manage all customer conversations in one powerful solution that feels just like an inbox. So with Help Scout, it's quick to set up, easy to use. It enables customer-facing teams to focus on the things that really matter, like growing their customer relationships. And whether customers prefer to engage through email, live chat, help centers, teams using Help Scout are ready with a lot of different features for collaboration, organization, and automation. But to actually show you around the product and tell you more about it, I've got Alison here. So Alison, give us a quick intro on yourself. Tell us about Help Scout kind of in your own words. And then I've got lots of questions for you that I'm going to pepper you with on the tool, the product, the solution, all the things like that. But I'll let you give us a quick overview.
Yeah, appreciate that intro. I feel like I don't have to do any of this now because that really sort of took everything. But yeah, my name is Alison, and I have been at Help Scout for almost 4 years now. But one cool thing about being in this particular space is that I was a Help Scout user long before I worked at Help Scout. So I feel like I've got like a decade of Help Scout experience under my belt. But you summed it up very well. We're just a really simple, easy collaboration tool for teams who need to essentially communicate with their customers. And yeah, I think that's the simplest way I can put it.
That's awesome. And I love the fact that you were a user before you became and a customer before you became an actual Help Scout employee. I think that speaks probably volumes to the product and the capability itself, but also I think you'll have some very unique perspectives to share here about why folks should care about the tool and the solution.
Yeah, we have a very meta role at some of us at Help Scout who use Help Scout to help Scout users.
Yeah,
and that's the that's the sort of space that I fit in. So I myself, like even before and now after being at Help Scout, spend all day in the app helping our own customers. So I know, there's that old adage about dog fooding your own product, which is something that we do, relentlessly, because my team is 25 folks and we are in the product all day, every day.
Nice. All right, well, I'll let you pull up some slides to kind of get us started here, Alison. And then, like some of the things that I guess I'm curious about and that our audience would be curious about is like, one of them is, why Help Scout? Like, I always like starting with the problems. Like as a RevOps person, who supports the entire team, the entire tech stack, from marketing to sales to customer success, support, post sales. What are the problems that I might have, or what are the problems that I might see at my company that might indicate to me, hey, like we should be looking for a solution here, and Help Scout could be one of those potential solutions.
Yeah, I think this particular image that we're looking at here probably sums the answer to that up really well. And again, we at Help Scout have the same problems that any other company does. And one of those big, if not the biggest issue is, just communicating across teams. We have a sales team, we have a success team, we have a marketing team, and having a central place of data for our customer communication. So anyone on our team that wants to do, whether it's, customer research, whether it's, needing to speak with customers, whatever the case may be, can do that within Help Scout. But there's also, that's Help Scout in its most simple form. But there's also the self-service components that come along with that as well, which are extraordinarily time-saving. And for some really small organizations, say there's 10 people at your company, and I know many of us have been, or 10, 20, something like that. We've been in those places before. There are tools within Help Scout that can solve a lot of problems and become extra teammates for you, if you will. So very easy ways to create knowledge bases or FAQ sites or anything like that you might want to do. Proactive messaging on your website without any developer help, which is very expensive and very time consuming, and things like that. Reporting, integrations, data tools, all those things. So where you might have, 4 or 5 people responsible for doing all these little bits, on a smaller team, especially, Help Scout can almost be those extra folks for you, which I know. And again, I've been employee number 2 at places. And so in the very early days, or when you're small and scrappy, like that's really, really helpful for you as well.
Yeah, that's great. So it sounds like when it comes to customer communication, and if I'm kind of experiencing a lot of maybe manual processes around customer communication and stuff that might be spread across a bunch of different tools or systems or people, that might indicate, hey, there's an opportunity to consolidate some of this stuff into one kind of centralized platform, and that platform could be Help Scout.
Right. And when we look at sort of the problems that Help Scout can solve, I think that this sort of spans the spectrum, no matter company size, because the bigger you get, the same problems exist. They just sort of multiply themselves.
I always love that. It's like if you've got a problem now as, say, a 20, 30, 50 person company, like those problems aren't going to go away as you grow. They're just going to get more painful, and they're going to hurt more. So it's about, yep, exactly. So it's about how do you prioritize them and solve them.
Right. So for us, and the reason that Help Scout was created in the first place is solving the problem of a shared, or the concept of a shared inbox, right? Because if anyone knows anything about email and how it works, even just in its most basic form, you can't have a info at, support at, help at, whatever, general intake email address you have, and share that across. So in the very beginning of a company, one person is essentially burdened with that. And then to grow out of that is where a tool like Help Scout comes into. So things like you see here, getting a space to have your inbox be shareable, if you will. And then at that point, it's like, okay, well, if all of our customer communications are coming into one place, what are they? What are people saying? What do they need? Well, now I have access to all of that. And then even from there, those self-service help tools, like I mentioned earlier, which can really take the place of a human, especially in the early days, and save you a lot of work. And then again, as you're growing and need to do more with your website, we have a proactive messaging tool that, a lot of times, like if you say you want a banner on the top of your website, we've all seen that takes tech time and money and help in those areas. And we've got tooling for that. So basically, everything that you would need to communicate publicly with your customers, and then also internally as well, because there's so much data that can be harvested from those conversations that you're having with your customers. That's the problem, in a nutshell, that Help Scout was built to solve.
Yeah, that's great. And when it comes to, I guess before we get into some of the product specific stuff, when it comes to companies, industries that are, a good fit, as you look at your current customer base, who, what types of companies, size, industry are typically a good fit for your particular product or solution? And then what type of people within those companies do you typically, see yourself helping or kind of supporting the most?
Sure. I've got one extra slide here that kind of goes into the previous points, but and I'll just kind of leave this up here for a second. But and I'll get to your question here just a beat. But this is more about simplicity, ease of use, those types of things that we kind of built Help Scout around. So, as you're trying to answer those early on questions and to the problems that you're having, that's sort of some extra benefit there. But as far as, the who, early on, we kind of broke it down to these sort of 3 personas that you see here. So, very, very early on, it was the support people, the customer service support, whatever you want to call it. But then at that point, it's also on founders and CEOs. We see a lot of that, like in early stage. Those folks know at a certain point, even at like 2, 3, 4, 5 employees, like they need a tool to start communicating with customers. So we see a lot of that. And then obviously a lot of folks in operation spaces as well, which I know speaks to everyone watching this. So those are kind of our 3 high levels. But then when we break it down even more from that, I think this is a really good overview of where we are today and who we serve. So those smaller SMB companies, which I imagine the majority of folks with us would sort of represent. Industries are all all over the map, but it's a really sort of good high level look here. So again, most likely anything that folks touch here would be there. And then obviously is a really broken down from that, the types of teams that Help Scout is really good for, support, ops, just about anyone that we'd be chatting here with today.
Yeah, no, that's great. And before we hop into kind of the product, any last kind of slides or information you want to share before we kind of jump into the product side of the demo?
No, the rest is pricing and how to find me. So, and I'll touch on that at the end here.
Great. Well, yeah. So let's dive into the product then. And I guess if you can, again, like RevOps Co-op, right? We're lots of folks who are in revenue operations. Like, talk about maybe a handful of like RevOps specific use cases, or at least use cases that, even if they're from a customer support perspective, that are going to be relevant to folks in revenue operations. And if you can, like, tie some of those things back to some of the problems that we talked about before.
Yeah, for sure. So I like to look at Help Scout as sort of 3 tools that were built on top of each other, but to work together and to solve the problem that, I know that all of y'all are looking for, which is to combine, costs and tooling and everything that you might need into one space. So you're not running 3, you're not having a separate knowledge-based tool. You're not having a separate, say, contact form and widget to, put on your website to help folks. Those are all built into Help Scout. So instead of, say, paying 2, 3, 4 different toolings, those are all here together. So the 3 main components of Help Scout are, it started with inbox. So that shared inbox experience, that is what the app was built on. So this was the beginning. Let's say, I'll just put it in the context of us. If you email help@helpscout.com, that's a Gmail address, but that email all flows right into our Help Scout account. So folks would connect their own, sort of shared email address. And that can be anything, right? It doesn't have to be the support sort of, use case, although that's obviously one of the biggest. We run sales teams through Help Scout, product teams, any sort of team where more than one person needs to share the, I hesitate to use the word burden, but, share that experience of having to communicate, whether it's a customer or whatever that might look like for you. We have a lot of folks in the education space that, use Help Scout to manage, students and alumni and all that. So any sort of thing that you need to, or people that you need to talk to, that's what that sort of shared inbox experience was built around. And there's all these great tools in here as well to solve the problem of keeping you from stepping on each other's toes, right? At any given time in the Help Scout world, we'll have anywhere from 5 to, I've seen up to 50 people in our own inbox at the exact same time. So you have all the ability to have your whole team in one space talking with your customers. I know where all my teammates are at any given time. I can see that here indicated in my inbox. Oh, Ben's replying to this email. I know that's being handled. I can walk right over and hop up to the next one. But basically everything that I need to have that back and forth email exchange with my customers or whatever they may be for you is all right here in Help Scout. And if I even take it back up a level, you can have and manage multiple brands, products, teams, anything like that, because you can have multiple mailboxes in one Help Scout account. That's what we're looking at here. And each one of those mailboxes is distinct. So let's say you needed to do something like run an automation on, certain emails, which is a feature that we have. We have a feature called saved replies. So let's say you're replying to a customer's email. I can just drop a previously written out email into that, but that's a distinct, unique experience. So if I need to have 3 of my teams all in one account, they have access to the mailbox they have all these tools, but they're segmented out so you don't have, any sort of cross stream type of things happening there. So saving time, saving money, and really being able to keep everyone together all here in one space. And one other cool thing I find about this is, let me find another email here that'll have a little bit more of this context. I think I mentioned this earlier. So all of the context that you'll need will be here together in one place. So any email exchange that you've already had with a customer, again, whatever that might look like for you, that's all here. I can go back and look at those previous conversations that I've had with folks, whether it's email, whether it's live chat, which is a feature that we have if you want to offer that to, folks visiting your website. Any phone calls that you have, you can take notes on those and connect those to a customer inside your Help Scout account. And then let's say I go to reply to this email from this customer, and I think to myself, I want to see what other previous conversations I've had with them. It's all right here for me to see that. So really, really helpful. If someone goes on vacation on your team or is out for the day, the kid's sick, whatever, you're always going to have, you can pick up that email thread or that, extra conversation that you've had with a customer because all the context is right here. And the same thing goes for trying to, use this for, say, research purposes or, your product team, your sales team, anything like that. Every email that you've ever received in Help Scout is basically archived here. So I can do things like, I could do searches on, say, keywords in the body of an email. So maybe I'm looking at doing some research on a particular thing. I can find all of the emails in my account that have particular keywords. So again, from a RevOps perspective, it's saving you from extra tooling. You can just have anyone that you want to give access on your team to your Help Scout account. They can come in, and not only can they communicate with your customers, but they can do research in that way as well. So if you want to see what's going bad, what's going well, anything that you might want to do, whatever that looks like for you, everything there is at your fingertips.
And what was that when you were in one of those emails? I saw something that said like collision detected.
Yeah.
Was that telling you that like you were doing something at the same time that someone else was doing?
Correct. So this doesn't happen too often, but I do have this little feature pulled up in here because let's say you're sending a reply to an email and one of your other teammates is leaving a note on that email, which is something they can do. So you can do internal notes within an email. That's what happened here. So two people were leaving notes at the same time, and it gave us this little collision detection. So essentially it's saying, hey, another action happened on this email. It's happened to me when I'm replying to the email and the customer replies again, which will happen from time to time. Then this it'll pop up and it'll say, hey, before you send off this email, make sure that you have all the information that you need. So it basically saves face in a way. So you're not sending duplicate information to a customer, and it keeps you very on top of what's going on there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so I heard, so this is great functionality around shared inboxes, and I can obviously see the use case for customer support, customer success. I can see it for sales as well. I think we all have a sales@company.com email, and probably even on the marketing side as well for stuff that's earlier or more kind of top of funnel. I think you had mentioned kind of three pillars or three parts of the product. I think, shared inboxes was one. I think another is probably the knowledge-based stuff, maybe the conversations was the third. But yeah, what are some of those other items?
So the second would be that knowledge-based side of things. This is just a little sample. We call them docs. So there's a little sample doc site that I've got built out here. And it just gives you little quick and easy ways to publish articles, and I might not have any. This is kind of like our little demo playground, but just very simple and easy way to say. In fact, I've got this pulled up in my account. Just a little WYSIWYG editor, essentially, and with a push of a button, you can publish that article publicly to the web. So from a RevOps perspective, again, really, one, saves tooling time and money, and two, acts as that sort of third teammate to, I don't have to have a dev to code this up. I don't need to do any extra things. Just within Help Scout, I've got the ability to write and publish these help articles, and they'll just go instantly up on the web, on a whole site that Help Scout will build for you. You can customize it in any way that you might want to, but out of the box, you could get an FAQ, knowledge base, whatever you might need, up and going in less than an hour.
Yeah. So it's not just the documentation, but it's the rest of that, called the FAQ website or the knowledge base website that you can also build within Help Scout?
Yes. Yeah. So even if you were to say, we look at this is our doc site, completely built on Help Scout. So you can really customize the site if that's something that you want to do. But if you want to, if you have a desperate need, like say in half an hour, I need to get 5 FAQ articles up on my website or up on the web, you can do that really, really quickly and easily as well, which again is a big time and money saver across the board.
Yeah, that's huge. I know I've been blocked on a lot of different things by just the need for development or engineering support on everything from website stuff to free trial stuff to customer stuff. So anything that you can do to kind of put the power in my hands to get something done right without relying on other people, other teams is huge.
Exactly. We have all been, in fact, there's no telling how many outstanding dev tasks I have in, on a Jira card for them somewhere. And so much of what we've built Help Scout around was trying to take some of that back. Now, again, like if you want to do deep customizations, obviously you'd need, someone who can write CSS and HTML, but you can very quickly and easily just like skip over that and get what you need out, which we hope saves time and money, but also inbound email, like a lot of our self-service tools we created to kind of cut down on your incoming email volume, which also saves you time and money. So everything that we kind of built Help Scout around was done with that in mind, right? We're building it for small teams. We are a small team ourselves, so we know what those pain points are and are trying to essentially build tools to help us that in turn will also, help other folks as well.
Yeah, that's the way to do it for sure. All right, and so we got the shared inboxes, we've got the knowledge base, kind of FAQ docs. What's the third item?
The third one is what we call Beacon. And Beacon is just a little embeddable widget that you can put on your website. So again, this is our whole goal, was to cut down on your incoming email volume, put the power for the customer to help themselves in their own hands, while causing, minimum disruption inside your own organization. So you can come in to this little, what we call just the little Beacon builder. And Beacon has 4 main functions. So it's a contact form, very simple. If you just need a contact form, you can use Beacon just for that. Really, really simple. Someone fills out that contact form, that email just moves right into your Help Scout mailbox. So again, those sort of interconnected pieces where I don't have disparate, pieces of the puzzle in different apps. Everything is all right there. There also is a live chat function. If that is something that you want to offer folks, you can turn that on in your Beacon and you can offer that live chat on your website. You can also, and this is my personal favorite portion of Beacon, you can display those knowledge base or FAQ articles within the Beacon. So you get this Beacon embedded on your website, your knowledge base is instantly there and will follow that person on every page that they visit. And you can even specify on what pages certain articles display. So let's say someone lands on your pricing page, you can display pricing specific help articles to that person right away, because you know right where they are and you know what's going to help them the most. And again, this was done under the guise of really trying to help you cut down on incoming email volume, help the customer help themselves right there in the moment when they need it the most, which is going to, we hope lead to higher conversions and all those things that you might need, all because in that moment, you got that person the help that they needed. And then the fourth portion of Beacon is this tool that we call messages. So that's a way you can proactively message visitors of your website. And I know I mentioned this earlier with that banner example. I know there's so many times where we need to alert folks to something, so we have to require dev help to get a little banner running across the top of our website for infinite number of reasons, everything from issues going on to sales you might be running, webinars you might want to be promoting. And you can do all of that with messages. So as long as a Beacon is installed on your website, you can come into your Help Scout account, you can create these messages. This is a little e-commerce example that I have set up here, and you can see how that just kind of comes up out of the Beacon. So no matter where you are on your website, you can message folks and you can do, I could probably spend an hour just talking about messages alone. But you can do things like NPS scores if that's something that you want to do. So again, that's yet another tool that you don't need. That's all a part of Help Scout if that's something that your teams are interested in doing. NPS is just a very sort of high level way that you can do that. There's lots of other different sort of survey types that we have in here. You can initiate, if you want to, proactively offer folks to chat with you, which I know a lot of folks like to do. You can just use messages as a simple little alert system. So again, instead of having to get 3, 4, 5 members of a team involved or get developer help or anything like that, let's say I've got this Beacon on my website, something's going sideways, I need to let folks know about it. I can type this out in like 30 seconds and publish it, and it will automatically start showing up on my website. Or even doing things like webinars, something where you can say, hey, click this button, go right to this sign up page. again, I know I keep sort of hammering home on this, but that used to take time, right? So I'd have to create a Jira card or talk to my developers somehow and spend days, if not weeks, trying to get some sort of alert on my website. And now I can do those types of things in less than a minute, as long as I've got that beacon installed there. And that gives me yet another tooling option, all under the sort of Help Scout umbrella.
Yeah, so it looks like with just the beacon functionality, it looks like obviously tons of use cases across the support side. Like you said, if you're a current customer, you can capture feedback, put that into an NPS score. Yep. You can offer to folks to chat with your team. You can offer up information. Hey, our app is down, or hey, yep, things are running slow. But then there's also call it marketing or sales use cases as well. Like, hey, we've got this webinar going on. Join this webinar. So it sounds like this is something that is not just for call it in-app, in-product stuff, but also marketing, your marketing website, your customer or just prospect visitor-facing material as well. Is that right?
Right. And one extra feature that I haven't really touched on here is it's fairly new. It's something we call light users. So I'm sure folks are familiar with the concept. Other companies call them other things. But essentially, if you've got members of, say, your marketing team, any other team that let's say that those folks aren't really working day to day in Help Scout, they don't need a seat necessarily. They're not the ones doing the day in, day out communicating with your customers. You can add them to Help Scout as a light user. It's so new, the numbers always kind of escape me. I'm 99% sure it's like 25 light users come with your account. So that's 25 extra people you can add to Help Scout for free. You don't have to buy a full seat for them. And while they won't be able to have full access to the app, so they're not sending emails, they're not doing those types of things, the big thing they can do is come in here and they have full access to messages. So anyone else on your team who might need to do anything like that, proactive little message on your website, they can come in and you can give them full access to that. And that again kind of ties back to those, I don't need to go buy 4 or 5 different toolings, nor do I have to spend a ton of money to have 100 seats in my Help Scout account. I can say have 10 for the folks that are doing that day-to-day customer communication, and then say give another 10 of my folks who don't need to do that, but would really have a lot of value in, say, using messages, can give them, access to that account at no charge.
Yeah, wonderful. And next, I guess let's talk about integrations a little bit. So, obviously, like curious to hear about CRM integrations and maybe any other popular integrations that that you might have. Like what are the most popular integrations and use cases for those integrations?
Yeah, so this is a really, and when I say really cool, I mean this as someone who genuinely uses Help Scout all day, every day. The CRM piece especially. So for better or for worse, we're a Salesforce team. I have opinions on that, as I'm sure many folks do. But we have I think we're over 80 now, big integrations, and you can see them all here. They're just in alphabetical order, which makes them easy to find. But we have things like Salesforce, and we have things like HubSpot, and we have Jira and all those types of integrations, Slack, Shopify for those, big e-commerce companies. They're all here. But what is really cool about them is they display really pertinent information about that customer when I'm replying to a customer's email. So let's say I'm in my inbox, I open an email from a customer, I start to reply to it. Over on the right sidebar, and I don't have live data in this account because that would kind of go haywire, but you can see an example in this screenshot here. On the right-hand side of that email would display pertinent information from that specific app about that customer. So we'll match the email address they use to email you with, whatever app you want to integrate. So again, Salesforce, HubSpot, Jira, all that, and display that pertinent information. So for me, when I'm replying to a customer's email, maybe they're in trial, they are already working with someone on our sales team, but they just, our sales team encourages folks to email our support team because we're a 24-hour-a-day team and we can get them help really quickly. I can look over on the right side of the email, see which of my account managers is working with them, the last few interactions they may have had outside of Help Scout, and then I have all the information I need to answer that customer's email. Same thing from like the e-commerce point of view. So Shopify is obviously the easiest one to talk about. I can see that data about that customer right there in their email. So I see their last order, the pricing of that. If I need to, I can one click on that order number. It's going to take me right into my Shopify account. So long story long, all of our integrations are built to show that pertinent data that you need about that customer right there in the moment. So I'm not logging into 3 or 4 different apps that my team might use across the company. I have all of that information right there in the customer's email, which is where I need it the most. I need to have that information. I need to take a quick look at it as I'm replying to that email.
Yeah, and it looks like from what I've seen, bi-directional integration, meaning I can, when I'm in Help Scout, I can see, for example, Salesforce or deal information about that particular customer. And then when I'm in Salesforce, for example, I can see relevant Help Scout information, open tickets, recent conversations through the shared inbox, things like that. I can see that within my CRM as well.
Right. And that's for our bigger CRM, so Salesforce and HubSpot. There may be, again, with so many integrations, the ins and outs of them individually don't stay in my brain, but for these bigger ones, yeah. And again, that's the whole point, right? Like we know that your teams are you're not going to do every last little thing in Help Scout. So we want to pick up those pieces and at least connect those dots. So let's say there could be an instance where I do need to log into Salesforce and look a little bit deeper into something. At the very least, I've got a link you can see there in that screenshot. I can click on view profile and that'll take me right to that customer's, sort of profile page in my Salesforce instance. And I can, if I need to, dig in deeper there. So that's what it's really all about, is like getting you all the pertinent context about that customer as close to the surface as we can.
Yep. Makes sense. All right, great. So I guess a couple of, kind of tactical questions as we kind of get things wrapped up. So I know when it comes to ROI, I guess I heard, a couple of things from you. One is, tool, call it tool consolidation, right? No need to spend dollars on, say, 3 separate products that are aimed at, very specific things, when you can do a lot within Help Scout, whether that's shared inboxes, whether that's knowledge base FAQ, whether that's chat widget for your website, whether that's NPS score, right? Lots of different things there. Anything else? And then also, manual time saved, right? Associated with, once you have more than one person needing to manage, one inbox, things can get wonky. There's probably customer experience implications there, right? You don't want, you want to make it look like you've got your stuff together for your customers. But what are, outside of those things, I guess, anything else on the ROI side that is worth mentioning that folks should consider?
Yeah, and this may answer a question that could be coming, but the way that because I look at most of Help Scout under the very first, say, 30-day lens, because that's just where my internal focus is on helping folks get onboarded, essentially. And having used other tools in the past and knowing how important it is for your side of things to be efficient, outside of everything that you just mentioned, I really think that's probably one of the bigger things there. Is we can get, for the most part, there are instances where, folks do have some, let's say, more intensely locked down, say, Microsoft Exchange, emails that make setup a little bit harder. But if you have a Gmail address, so whatever, if Gmail is powering your email, we can get you set up. And I could probably record myself doing it in 90 seconds. And the amount of time, and I take deep pride in that, because I think that that's like our bigger differentiator is I can get you onboarded in 5 minutes. And that's such a huge, because all we need to do is get your email address connected. And we've got other, you do have to take some time to authorize your integrations and little things like that, but for the most part we can get you onboarded in 5 minutes. And if you just need to start exchanging emails with your customers, like I can do that for you right now. and we can get you going. And there's just not that learning curve is really not that steep. And as you can see, like if we're looking at the core of the product itself, it looks like any other email inbox that you're already used to. And that's kind of where I think one of our big differentiators is that we can get you in, we can get you going, and you can move on. And from a RevOps perspective, I'm not wasting time and money and people power on doing any of this major days, weeks, months ramp up of getting into a new app. We can do that really quickly.
Yeah, that's awesome. So a true kind of self-serve sort of product that can get stood up within minutes when you kind of make the decision to buy and implement.
Right. Absolutely.
Great. All right. Well, let's I guess in the last couple of minutes here, let's talk pricing. Anything you can share on pricing, and then how folks could kind of get in touch if they wanted to either learn more or kind of maybe see the solution live for themselves.
Absolutely. So our pricing is really simple. For a lot of folks, our standard plan is going to be plenty. And it's just like you see your $25 per user a month. And again, we define user as anyone who needs to log into the app and interact with it and with your customers. And I mentioned earlier about light users, that's included on our plus plan. And those folks, like I said, don't have full access to the app, but anyone who needs to be basically day-to-day inside Help Scout communicating with folks, that's what we call a user. And so we just price that out that way. So our standard plan is plenty for a lot of folks, your smaller teams, things like that. Our plus plan has a little bit more to it. So like I mentioned, you get those light users with that. You get our premium integrations, which are Jira, HubSpot, and Salesforce. So if you need to use those, you have to be on our plus plan to do that. And our pro plan is for, bigger companies who maybe need a little more concierge type of service. And there's a few more higher end features, say like, I believe like SAML login and things like that are a little more enterprise based, but for the majority of your folks, either our standard plan or our plus plan will be a perfect fit for them. And like I said, we try to keep our pricing as easy and transparent as possible. This is it right here.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. And all right. And if I'm watching this and I'm like, all right, I'm sold, what do I do? How do I get in touch with y'all?
Yeah. So that's me. A much more caffeinated version of me. And we're very easy to find. So helpscout.com, you can hit that anytime. help@helpscout.com. If you email that comes to our whole support team. And we do what we lovingly call 24/6 support. So Sunday mornings, you won't be able to find us, but I've got teammates all over the world. So we're a fully distributed company, have been since our inception 11 or 12 years ago. So I've got teammates in Europe. There's obviously a lot of us here in the States. I've got some teammates in Australia. So we just kind of do the whole handoff from continent to continent, and we're always around. That's our Twitter handle as well. But the reason that I put our general address and not my own in here is because we're much easier to find this way. So one of us or many of us are always around. If you have any questions, just shoot them to us, and we'll get right back to you.
Great. Well, Allison, thank you very much for the walkthrough. The demo of the Help Scout platform looks easy to set up, easy to use, and incredibly powerful. So I really appreciate you making the time to do that. I will let you run, and to everyone else, I'll let you run too. Thanks for tuning in, and we do these a lot, so make sure you kind of check in and take a look at the next one. I'll see you later, y'all.
Thanks.